Okay.
I don't think we discussed. I'm supposed to do that, and I forgot about it. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that's what's supposed to go.
I think it'll be fairly easy since it's something I've thought about a lot. So I think it'll be good.
Okay.
Actually, my earliest memory was being pushed off a swing. I think this was when I was in preschool in Oakville. So really, really young, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of them actually. I remember in elementary school, I would have people lining up to punch me in the stomach to see how much it would bounce. A lot of the bullying was based around my weight, how I looked, how I presented myself. I don't come from a very financially stable family. A lot of the times we'd have to have bills bounced in order to pay for food or to be able to pay for school trips or shoes, stuff like that. And so a lot of the time I would get bullied a lot since maybe I'd have to go, a year or two with the same shoes or same clothes or the same backpack from last year. I remember I had to wear the same Halloween costume 5 years in a row because we just couldn't afford a new one. And so it was a lot of how I looked, my weight. I was always bigger than everybody else. When I was young, I realized that, I was always different from everybody. But everybody loved playing outside. I liked more to be inside. I liked painting more than I did soccer. And so a lot of the time it was, what's different about me? What's wrong with me? Why is everybody hating me for just me being there and being myself? Yeah, quite a few. It's just kind of sad to say, but it's the truth. I remember one time we had cubbies in elementary school, in my school. And so one time somebody spilled their pudding in the cubby. And there were these two girls in my class, this was grade 4 or 5. And they hated me. I don't know what I did. I didn't, I was always a nice kid. I was genuinely quiet. I never bugged anybody on purpose. I never went after people. I was always, super nice to people, and that's what a lot of my friends, tend to say is my best quality, that I'm so nice and so friendly. But they just hated me. I don't know if it was because, I was so nice to people and that I had no hate in me, or maybe it was just because I had good grades. I mean, in younger grades, you always get great grades, right? But I never knew the purpose, and I never knew why. But one time this kid spilled their pudding in the cubby, and I was nice and went ahead and cleaned it up for them because I knew they were busy trying to work on some work, that they had, some extra homework. And so I was cleaning it up for them, and that just happened to be the cubby that those two bullies occupied. They had their bags and stuff there. And so when I was cleaning it up, I was on my hands and knees with a paper towel, and they came over and started yelling at me to leave. Obviously I wasn't gonna leave and just leave a mess there because I knew the teacher would get mad at everybody because she didn't like messes. And so I kept cleaning it up, and they decided that they wanted to get physical with me. And as they were screaming, really rude names at me, they called me whale, they called me fatty, they called me, words people in our grade shouldn't know. They called me a bitch, and they were just punching and kicking me. And I went home that day crying because I didn't know what I did to deserve to be, so hated on by just cleaning something. And I broke down that day. And this similar thing happened another time later on, and this was in grade 5. This was definitely in grade 5. There was this boy, and it was similar. It was the same thing, just being bigger, whale, fatty, all these similar things I'd gotten used to being called. I was, if somebody said that, I'd immediately look around and be like, who's talking to me? Because I got so used to the names that they would call me. And so this one year, this boy, he bullied me so badly that on this Wednesday, I wished that he would die so that he would leave me alone. That night at home, he was shot in the back of the head. For years after that, and still I feel guilty because I feel like that maybe if I didn't have that sort of hatred towards that person, that they wouldn't have died the way that they did. And obviously it's something I can't control. I didn't pull the trigger. But for the longest time I felt like I did. And that's like one of the things I'm most guilty about in my life. That I let hate get to me. And that because of that, I felt like I was the cause of someone's death. We were in 5th grade. He was 11 when he died. And so for weeks after that, I went to therapy at my school because they brought in, death counselors to try and help. I was there every day in that library. I drew pictures, I wrote notes. That's when it got really bad, and people still bullied me. And at the end of that 5th grade year, a person who I was super, super close with, they were my best friend, told me that they'd always hated me because of how nice I was and how much I get picked on. That they hated me because of it, because they got some of that hate too, because they were always with me. Sorry.
It's okay. It's really sad. I'm sorry that at the time that you felt like you were guilty for that. Very sorry.
It wasn't that bad in middle school. In middle school in grade 6 and 7 and 8, it was pretty fine. People started laying off. Though in grade 6, it was still pretty bad. And because I still had all that guilt and pent up hate towards the people who hurt me for most of my life, I tried to take my life in June of 6th grade. I wrapped a plastic bag around my head in the bathroom and cried and cried and cried until my sister came in, and I quickly pulled it off my head and never spoke of it again. And that was the first time I tried hurting myself. The bullying laid off, but I still had all that guilt pent up in me. I still had all this pain that I didn't know what to do with. Everybody says, find an outlet, but it's not that easy. It's not just like painting a picture that gets rid of all your pain. It's not that easy. And so I didn't cut myself until grade 7, though I only did it once. It doesn't make it any better, but I did it once in grade 7 and it didn't help at all. It didn't stop the pain I was feeling. It didn't make me feel any less guilty for anything that had happened to me or that I felt like I'd done to people in the past, so I never did it again. But instead, I had a notebook, and every day I would come home and write a new suicide note. And I would imagine in my head about how it would go, how my parents would find it, how my sister would find it, how my cats would find it, because I love my cats. And so eventually I just got rid of that notebook. I just tossed it out because things started to get better, though nothing ever fully goes away. I still have the scar in my arm from where I hurt myself. I still have the emotional scars from people hurting me, people making me feel like I don't belong on this earth. I wrote my first suicide note in grade 3 when I should be thinking about, what my friends are doing, when I can have a play date with them. Not when the next person's gonna make me feel like I shouldn't be in the earth. It got really, really hard to just try and keep going. And everybody says, it's fine, you'll be fine, it'll stop eventually. The light at the end of the tunnel. And I never felt like I could get to that point. And then I got to high school and people weren't so mean anymore. I always assumed high school would be worse because you always see those movies, of the one jock bully, going around picking on, kids who are like me, different. But it's not like that at all. And so things are still in my mind constantly. It's never stopped, it never will stop. But because I have so many loving people around me, it's gotten so much better. I haven't tried to hurt myself in any way since 7th grade. And so I have kind of a wish for anybody who's going through anything that I went through. I know this is gonna sound so cliche, but it really does get better. You just have to surround yourself with people who have gone through similar things like you, because they understand. And adults, you know, they try to help, and a lot of them can. I'm not saying that they can't, but people who are going through the same thing as you will be the ones who can empathize the most, the ones who can understand the most, and they're the ones who will stick by you for the rest of your life. And I'm so thankful that I have people by my side who would never put me through that kind of torture again. So yeah. Yeah. One last thing I'd like to say is that there is help out there for anybody who's having those kinds of thoughts that I had, and to always have this one thing that'll keep you sane, because there were so many times where I just wanted to just stop everything, but music, just listening to music was the one thing that kept me, kept me going, and so you need to find that one thing that'll always make you happy whenever you're just down. And so I hope that for everybody who's going through or have gone through a similar thing that I have, that you find that one thing and you continue to do that one thing, because it really helps.